For a great cup of joe, there's one thing you should know. Your morning brew can also be playful. Buff Boy Brewing guys make the temperature rise, and you surely feel naughty when you swallow our coffee. If you want some real heat, give your mouth a fine treat. You will want some more, rest assured. Buff Boy Brewing, you can't get enough of.
It's time for The Scribble, your weekly fix of celebrity chats, bizarre stories in the news, and basic random chatter with best-selling author and syndicated radio host Jeremy Bradley. Make sure your seat is in the upright and locked position and your barf bag is securely in place. Here's Jeremy Bradley.
Thank you very much, Larson. Jeremy Bradley here. This is The Scribble. Thanks for tuning in at thescribbleshow.com and on SoundCloud and iTunes. It is March 16th, 2008. I guess tomorrow being St. Patrick's Day, I'll say top of the morning to ya, and happy St. Patrick's Day as well. Do you celebrate St. Patrick's Day? You know, it's a weekend this year, and I think if I'm not mistaken, let me just look back at what it was last year, because I do recall going with some colleagues and having green beer for the first time. It was a Friday. Okay, that's how I can justify my afternoon drinking. We did go to a pub where there was some live entertainment, and we did have some fish and chips, if I'm not mistaken, and it was a really good time. And so that's actually the first time that I've ever really participated in St. Patrick's Day. Sure, I've gone to McDonald's and had a Shamrock Shake, which reminds me I have not had one this year. But yeah, I don't know, it was something different. And once I was immersed in it, to me it's kind of like Mardi Gras or what's another one? Mardi Gras or Cinco de Mayo or even Halloween, I guess. You know, if you're not into it, you can, you know, sit on the sidelines and watch. It's kind of like if you go to a Halloween party, right? Everybody's in the spirit and in the mood, and then you sort of get into it. Well, I was just going to have lunch and drinks last St. Patrick's Day, and then I got into it. And then I was told that the beer was just regular beer with green food coloring. I felt a little bit ripped off because I'm pretty sure they charged us more for them as well. And naturally I had to do some selfies with it, even though I don't really drink beer. But I needed proof that I had green beer for St. Patrick's Day. All right, there you go. Now, it's a bit of a joking there, but I have a revelation on the show today, and this is a big deal for me. This is big news. This is a big story for me. Probably won't be for many of you, but I am having a procedure done today. When you're listening to this, I will be having a procedure, and it's going to be life-changing. And again, not a big deal for most people or for many people, but for me, it's been a long time coming, and I'm going to tell you the story. It's an unscripted story. I haven't rehearsed it. I just knew that I wanted to talk about it today. I'll tell you it right here on The Scribble after the break.
Who are the Kardashians feuding with now? What did that little thug Justin Bieber do this time? Who's getting hitched? And who's headed for Splitsville? Hear the latest celebrity news and gossip every day on Entertainment Wrap-Up. The good, the bad, the ugly, but mostly the ridiculously hilarious. It's all recapped in this daily segment at entertainmentwrapup.com. Have a laugh at the expense of the rich and famous when they take themselves way too seriously. It's 3 minutes of time-wasting fun at entertainmentwrapup.com. Check out Entertainment Wrap-Up at entertainmentwrapup.com. Brought to you by Speak Free Books.
Ever had something to get off your chest but never had the balls to say it? That's a load of crap. Speak Free with JB.com is exactly what you've been waiting for. Your chance to tell it like it is and not care what anybody else thinks. Have your say on issues of the day. Join newspaper and radio columnist Jeremy Bradley as he tells it like it is. Hundreds of thousands of people have stopped by, including some well-known celebrities who have had a chat with JB and speak candidly about what's really going on in the world. You can join them too. Have a rant or a rave. Be brave and head on over to www.speakfreewithjb.com now.
Jeremy Bradley here, back on The Scribble again. Thanks for tuning in at thescribbleshow.com and on SoundCloud and iTunes. I know you've just been waiting for my big reveal, my big news, but let me set up the story first, okay? Everybody has insecurities in their life, and sometimes they start from when you were a young kid. Maybe you were teased about something. Maybe you just had something that really... Maybe there was just a one-time thing and you've always felt self-conscious. And for a lot of people, we share that insecurity with our friends. And the people that are closest to us know what we struggle with. And I have had many ups and downs in my life. I have gone through anxiety and depression. I was medicated for a few years. I went through a real struggle. And people knew about that, though. And for some reason, I had no problem telling people, hey, you know what, I've got anxiety meds or whatever. And I wasn't just going around freely telling that story. It came up in conversation or presented itself in some way. I wasn't just advertising that to strangers on the street. But there has been something that I've been very insecure about for, probably almost 20 years. I'm going to be 36 this year. So, I'd say about, 15 or so years. And, are you ready? Drum roll, please. See, you're going to think that there's some really huge revelation I'm about to give you. But again, for me it is. For you it might not be. I have been very insecure about my crooked teeth. And this is not something that anybody knows, except for, a few, very, very few people who are close to me. And it's not something that I've ever commented on. I've just been one of those people who does everything I can to avoid you seeing my teeth. And I think back to a time when I was working in retail. I was an assistant manager at Party City. And one of my friends was very vain and superficial and shallow and was really was a pretty boy who wanted me kind of to be the same. And I, up until that point, had no problem with my teeth. I knew they were crooked, right? It's just like if you're a kid and you're growing up, you know you're fat, right? There's no hiding. You can't tell yourself I'm not fat. You just are. And so obviously I know my teeth are crooked. And I knew they were crooked, but I never had an issue because nobody ever made it an issue until that friend, quote unquote friend, pointed it out to me when I was working at Party City, and he came to visit me at work one day, and I remember he made a comment to me about making an appointment with his dentist. I can make you an appointment at my dentist, he said to me. And I was mortified. I was absolutely, I couldn't believe that. Because never had anybody said anything about my teeth prior to that. And let's be honest, they're just crooked. I don't have teeth, jagging through my gums and my lips and things like that. It's just noticeable. And like I said, I was always fine with it. I never had an issue. I've been one of those people who it's like, I don't care what you think I look like. I don't care if you find me attractive. I don't care if you like my shirt. I don't care if you hate my shoes. Doesn't matter to me. And even when I go out, I don't dress to impress. When we cover red carpets for our radio shows and for this podcast, it takes me all of maybe 10 minutes to get ready. And most of that time is rolling the lint brush on my clothes to get the dog fur off. But certainly anybody who has seen pictures of me when we're doing these red carpet events, when I'm interviewing celebrities, when we do our travel broadcasts, anytime there's photographs of me on our radio show websites or even on Facebook and social media, if it's a picture that we've taken, either I've taken or somebody on my team has taken, you most likely will not see my teeth when I'm smiling. And some people here did not believe that, and so they challenged me, and they randomly went to different red carpet events, going back to even 2011, 2010, some of the travel broadcasts, because naturally, when you're the host of the show, we have literally hundreds of pictures of me, because, if not even 1,000 pictures of me from different events. And sure as hell, unless the picture is taken from very far back, where I know that you won't be able to see my teeth, you don't see my teeth when I'm smiling. And it's because of that person 15 or so years ago who made that comment. And part of the reason why I've always enjoyed writing for the newspaper and being on the radio is that you don't have to see me, right? When we started the radio shows 12 years ago, I was able to just talk to you and you weren't able to see me. And that was good because, again, I didn't care what I looked like. I didn't leave the house and dressed to impress. And that was just comfortable. And then when radio all of a sudden started turning into this whole web phenomenon and social media, and you've got to be interactive and multimedia, I honestly said to myself, I don't want to do it. I'm not going to be front and center on a red carpet, especially in Hollywood, of all places. Am I really going to go to LA and Hollywood red carpets and try to be all glam and have my mouth looking the way it does? But how can I say no? I'm not going to quit my job. I'm not going to stop doing this because all of a sudden I have to be seen now. And then it happened about 5 or so years ago when I got a video column in the Winnipeg Free Press. Now, this is the biggest media outlet in Manitoba, my home province. And the editor of the newspaper had said, would love to do your Cheapskate book as a video series. And the first thing I thought of, not, oh my God, this is exciting, oh my God, this is the biggest media outlet around, it was, people are going to see my teeth. I'm not kidding you. I'm not kidding you. And again, I had reservations about it. And then, when I'm doing it and I'm watching the videos before they get posted, and I just watch the little window like it's on YouTube, and then I see it full screen, I'm just like, well, maybe people aren't going to watch it full screen and they won't notice my teeth. They won't. They'll just watch the little screen on their phone or something, and then we're good. And then when they have the screen grabs, and, I always say that on The View, they grab the weirdest screenshots of Meghan McCain with her mouth always open, and I just feel that sometimes they do that to make you look like an idiot. And so the screen grabs of me from this Cheapskate video series, always at some point you can see my mouth open and my teeth. And I actually said to our editor and our producer, I said, can we maybe get shots of me with my mouth closed? And I didn't tell them why. I just said that I kind of look dopey. I said I look sort of stupid with my mouth open like that. But at the end of the day, it was because people could see my crooked teeth. And I know that my brother had braces when he was growing up. My parents offered me braces if I wanted. I was covered under my dad's work plan, health insurance. And I said no, because my brother was made fun of and complained about how much it hurt, and it was also a lot of maintenance with these elastics and wrapping them around things. And I just thought, and I was a little bit younger than him, and I just thought that I didn't want to do it. It wasn't for me. I had no interest in it. No braces for me. And so then I get to become a little bit older, and I guess the reason for me not doing it, once I started radio, was to say that it's going to affect how I sound. It's going to affect how I talk. I won't be the same. And I realized that was me just making excuses. And then I started to say, well, you know what, it's really expensive, and I don't think I can do it. Well, you know what? In that time, I bought a house. I have dogs. I have, I've got a lot of responsibilities. I've got bills. I have the money. And so, coming around about the age of 30 or so, I kept saying to myself, well, you know what? We're not doing red carpets anymore. That's kind of fizzled out, so I'm not really going to be seen. It's okay. I can live with it. And I have a joking relationship with a lot of people, and I tease people, about their hair and their look and their clothing or whatever it is. And people make fun of me right back. And it's only been recently that some people have kind of gone after my teeth, where I'll comment jokingly about somebody's, appearance, their hair, or whatever it is. And it's only been recently that somebody has, jokingly fired back and said, wow, you know what, go straighten your teeth, or, go fix your teeth. And it's weird because that sticks with me. That sticks with me. Even though it's a joke, or even though people are just throwing back insults, again, it means that somebody else has noticed. And over the years, I have figured out how to speak without you being able to see my teeth. And that's something that once I have told a few people, they're kind of like, yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. And so in the last few months, actually it was last fall, I decided to go to an orthodontist. And coincidentally, I know the office manager of the orthodontist office. We worked together coincidentally, we worked together at Party City back in the day. And I had said to her, I'm 35. I know that adults do it. Should I do this? And of course, they want the business, so she's going to say yeah. And she said yeah. And so I went there in the end of January, and I went for my consultation, and I met with the doctor. And the staff was very welcoming. They all knew who I was. They knew that I was going to be a bit nervous, so that they kind of put me at ease when they welcomed me. And all of them, almost every one of them, and I don't know if they were doing it just because it was me or what the deal was, but every one of them looked at my teeth and my smile and said, this really isn't that bad. But when it's you always feel that it's worse than people will say, right? I just feel that these people are trying to downplay it so I don't feel self-conscious or feel bad. Meanwhile, these are people that are in the profession, they're in the industry that they could be honest with me and would level with me. But at the same time, they're also going to help me fix it, so they could very well say that it was really bad. And when I got my x-rays done and they do all these scans and they start taking all these pictures, they give me these plastic things to hook open my mouth, right? If you've ever been to a dentist office and you've had to have work done at the very back of your mouth, you've probably had these things jammed in your mouth to hold open, right? And this way, they wanted to take pictures of the inside of, they wanted to see all of my teeth, from the side, the front, whatever. And even then, I was reluctant, even with these professionals not believing. I didn't think that these pictures were going to end up in tabloids or anything like that. But even for these people, we're behind the scenes, we're back in an office. Even then, I was reluctant. Even then, I was hesitant to hold open my mouth and give them a shot to get pictures for my file. So even that, I was like, oh my God, you guys. And there was just something so strange where I'd admit to them and say, in 20-some years, I've never had somebody photograph me with my mouth wide open like this. And so I am getting braces. Let me cut to the chase after that 10-minute rambling story. I am getting braces today. When you're listening to this, I will be at the orthodontist's office, and I will be getting braces. Now, it's going to take a year and a half, and it's completely cosmetic. It's not like I'm having any pain or there's any trouble with my mouth. But this is still a procedure that is a big deal for me. I am an adult who has not had any kind of procedure, any sort of surgery, anything. And it's not that I'm afraid of it, because when I was growing up, I had ingrown toenails, I had bad tonsils that I had taken out, I had stitches in my head when I gashed open the side of my head. So it's not like I've never had surgery before. I have, just not recently. But my fear, again, was that I'm not going to sound the same, I'm not going to be able to speak properly, and that would ultimately affect my radio shows and my career in talking, right? Podcasting, radio shows, public speaking, anything like that. But I've been assured that it'll be okay. But there's still this part of me, there's still this fear that it's going to take 45 minutes to put these things on, that I have already pre-taped radio shows for next week. We've actually, thinking that I'm going to be out of commission. And let me tell you, years ago I had my wisdom teeth taken out, 3 of them, and I was so heavily medicated and so concerned that I would be in pain, I wouldn't be able to open my mouth, I won't be able to do this. Not one thing came true. Not one of my fears or beliefs actually happened. Now again, I was so medicated, I did not feel 1 minute of pain. I swear to you, I had 3 different colors of pills. I did not feel pain for 1 moment for about a week or 2 that I had the medication. I think it might have been a week. And so I'm going into this again thinking the worst is going to happen. That's just how I am. But I'm getting braces, and in a year and a half, I hope to have a perfect smile. Now that will take me to almost, it'll be 37 years old, almost. And when you think about it, when you're approaching 40, as I will be, to me it's a big deal. To me, I'm freaking out because I'm going to relearn how to smile. I'm going to have to learn how to smile again. And it's so bizarre to think, though, that for about, not quite half my life, but almost half my life, I've been ashamed of my mouth. And so, and again, I don't even want to make, I can't even compare this to, let's say somebody who has, battled cancer and won, or, had some sort of organ transplant or something. I'm certainly not likening this to that. But this is life-changing for me. And I kind of teased a few people in my life the other day by saying, on Friday I'm having a life-changing procedure done. This is a big deal for me. And everybody's freaking out going, what, you're not having plastic surgery? Oh, what, you're not having, oh my God, is something wrong? And then when I tell them that it's braces, they're kind of like, oh, all right, well, that's okay. But again, like I said, for me, it's been a really huge deal. Now, when I was in the office for the consultation the first time, I'm looking through the books, and naturally they show you the really, really bad stories and the good success stories, right? How they went from, a terrible, terrible mouth and all this, out of alignment and what have you, and then the final series of photos. And yeah, to me, I'm just like, wait a second, if they can fix that smile, then they can fix mine. So really, this isn't going to be that bad. But again, when it's you just, you kind of look at it a little bit differently. You just sort of see it in a different way. And so, believe it or not, yes, we actually have pre-taped the podcast for next Friday just because I feel like I'm not going to be able to talk. And I can tell you that Michael Fishman, DJ Connor from Roseanne on ABC, will be joining us next week. We taped that interview last week, actually. So I'm taking a proactive approach here, just in the event that my mouth is out of commission. All right, so we've got 30 minutes of me talking this week, and I will continue doing so right after the break here on the Scribble.
It's never too early to start thinking about your next holiday. Have you checked out Mexico recently? From tequila tasting, swimming with horses, to ziplining through the jungle and watching whales and dolphins in their natural habitat, Puerto Vallarta has it all. Visit mexico.jbonair.com to see all the fun PV has to offer. That's at mexico.jbonair.com for hundreds of photos, interviews, and videos from around the tourist hotspot. Check out mexico.jbonair.com for all the fun. That's mexico.jbonair.com.
Isn't it crazy that you wait for payday, but before you know it, you're strapped for cash again? It's time to stop blowing your money and become a smart spender with the book, The Official Guide to Being an American Cheapskate at cheapskatebook.com. Learn simple ways to cut costs at home every day and during special times of the year. Don't go broke at Christmas. Don't remortgage the house for a fancy vacation. The book is filled with tips to save you money throughout the year. Check out the best-selling book, The Official Guide to Being an American Cheapskate at cheapskatebook.com or on Amazon and iTunes.
Jeremy Bradley here on The Scribble. Thanks for tuning in at thescribbleshow.com and on SoundCloud and iTunes. When you have a platform like I do, right? I've got the radio shows, I've got the podcast, I've got newspaper columns, and people, charities, let's say, will want you to use that status or that platform, that channel that you have, to help maybe advance their cause or help spread the word about something, do some publicity, get some word out. And that's fine, but I try not to do that because for me, it opens the floodgates then for everything. Like when I was doing a Winnipeg cheapskate column for the Free Press, and we were giving just sort of general creative ways to save money and things like that. And so people were contacting me or reaching out to the newsroom and saying, we've got like a discount store. We've got an app that's helping people save money, or we've got this and we've got that. And I, at the beginning, just said, you know what, you feature one, then you got to feature everything, right? And trust me, I'm not saying that I get bombarded with requests to promote things. Obviously, celebrities, in Hollywood and things like that, they get more requests, and they have to pick and choose what they do as well. They're not doing everything. So for me, I was I was approached by an organization. I'm not going to name it, of course, but it was a hospital. And those hospitals are always doing fundraisers. So they'll either do like those raffles, and then they'll give you you could win one of those mansions, like a big house, or you could win like $1 million, or you can win a car, a sports car or something. And so they've got those big ones, but then they also will sometimes have interactive fundraiser kind of things. And so I had a meeting, I had a sit down with the marketing person who coordinates one of these events, and let's meet, let's talk about this, what the opportunity is, whatever. So she had known who I was, and again, like I said, I was Winnipeg cheapskate in the newspaper, but it was creative ways to save and spend money. And so we meet, and she's telling me all about what this campaign is, and again, it does involve like celebrities and some other thing, and then Hollywood celebrities we're talking, D-listers, but still Hollywood celebrities. And, we have, there's teams and there's this and there's whatever. And I was like, okay, it sounds interesting. She's got all these pamphlets and brochures and folders of information. She's giving me all the details. And then it's more like, well, tell me about you. So she knew basically on the surface what I did, but not necessarily the radio things and all of this other stuff. So after I basically unload my resume and do a song and dance, meanwhile, it's kind of like, you're the one benefiting from this. I'm not getting paid to do it. I'm going to lend my voice and my time or whatever it is. She then goes and says, it's the marketing people is just like, I'd love to have you on board. It's just not a good fit because we're obviously trying to raise a lot of money for the hospital. And kind of what you're known for is like not doing that. And I said, okay. Now, I didn't get defensive in the moment, but I kind of gently did say, well, you realize that my book, the idea about being a cheapskate, is creative ways to save and spend. I'm not telling people don't buy things, don't spend your money, don't do this. I'm saying look at it a little bit differently, how you spend your money, so you actually have more to do things like that. So you do have more money to then give to charity or to go on vacations and do things like that. So if anything, you want me, if you know anything about my column in the book that I put out, you dumbass, then you're going to be like, oh yeah, he's actually telling people how they can have more money to blow on a charity that they have no use for, directly. Because if it's a children's charity and I don't have kids, well, that's the way you're going to look at it. And so no matter what I said, it was kind of like that was the decision. It was a done deal. I'm not going to change their mind. But then she's got the nerve to see how she can still use me. And so the weekend that they were doing this, I was in Los Angeles. Again, I split my time between Los Angeles and Winnipeg, well, in Canada. And so I was kind of like, well, I could either do this event in Canada or go and cover, it was a TV finale or something was happening in Los Angeles. Obviously, I'm going to make more money going to the event and do stuff for work. So she was like, that's really cool how you do those things. Like, maybe actually could we offer that as a prize when we do like a raffle for something, like that the person can go with you to one of these events? And I said, well, no, because I'm there as media. I'm not there in the theater as a patron, as a TV viewer. I'm there to report and actually work on it. And I'm not even in the theater for these shows most of the time, on a red carpet or in a press room somewhere. And so she's wanting to use me that way, use my connections and use all that other stuff to get somebody the Hollywood treatment and the Hollywood lifestyle. And, we'd pay for them to fly there and we'd pay for their hotel and all this other crap. And I'm sitting there going, wait a second, are you trying to raise money? So why are you going to go and blow $1,000 on this prize when the whole goal is to actually make money out of this? So yeah, we don't want you to be part of the actual charitable initiative, the big event, but you can use all your contacts that you've spent years making and solidifying and hook us up, which is going to be a really awkward request for you to go to these publicists or network executives and be like, yeah, can I just get some random prize winner to come into the red carpet with me? No, I'm not doing that, especially when you go and say that your cheapskate platform and brand or whatever is not what we want. Well, then if I'm not what you want, my contacts are not what you want either, bitch. So I was offended on the way home from that, because I felt like, why are we meeting if you've already known that you don't want me to participate? And then we're going to talk about this event as though like you're trying to get me psyched for it and get me revved up, only to then drop the bomb and be like, yeah, we actually don't want you to be part of it, but I'm really fascinated about your connections to Hollywood and how we can, ride your coattails on that. And in the moment, I didn't say no. In the moment, I was just like, yeah, let me, I'll go home, I'll think about what could work or what I could do. I never did contact the woman again. I never had another interaction with her. Because I just thought, maybe it's one of those things like a bad date, right? Where you're just like, oh, it was nice meeting you. Yeah, I'll give you a call. Yeah, we'll do this again. And you just never hear from them. You're going to take the hint and be like, you know what? They weren't into me. Well, you know what? I wasn't into them. Sorry. It's one thing to go and say, we want to use you or make it seem like you're going to be part of it and then get me all excited and make me dump all these ideas of how I can be part of it and then go and say, we don't want you, but yeah, we'll take that. Not going to happen. Sorry. No thanks. Bye-bye. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye. 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 Yeah, so that's my story.
Ever had something to get off your chest but never had the balls to say it? That's a load of crap. Speak Free with JB.com is exactly what you've been waiting for. Your chance to tell it like it is and not care what anybody else thinks. Have your say on issues of the day. Join newspaper and radio columnist Jeremy Bradley as he tells it like it is. Hundreds of thousands of people have stopped by, including some well-known celebrities who have had a chat with JB and speak candidly about what's really going on in the world. You can join them too. Have a rant or a rave. Be brave and head on over to www.speakfreewithjb.com now.
We hear you chirping. Get scribbling. Tweet up the Scribble at The Scribble Show. Join the discussion with Jeremy Bradley. It's all going down right now on Twitter at The Scribble Show and at thescribbleshow.com.
Jeremy Bradley here, back on The Scribble. Thank you for tuning in today. Feel free to give me a shout anytime. It's always awesome hearing from you. My email address, live@jbonair.com, live@jbonair.com. Well, fingers crossed. Again, we are not live next week, coincidentally. We've got Michael Fishman, who plays DJ Connor on Roseanne, joining us on The Scribble, and I've got even more things to talk about. I will talk to you same time, same place next week right here on The Scribble. Bye-bye, everybody.
Want more Scribble? Check out thescribbleshow.com for past shows, celebrity interviews, cheapskate tips, and more. That's at thescribbleshow.com and on Twitter at The Scribble Show. The Scribble is a speak-free media presentation.
If you want some real heat,